Cool. So immediately, the very first thing we should do is a content warning for this movie. It's a lot. It's a lot of things. If it has a lot of the sex and violence, there's some incest. There's some child death.
There sure is.
There is also some assault. Mm-hmm. There is, I don't think any dogs get hurt.
No, I don't think there are any dogs, were there?
No, there are horses.
The horse is fine, though.
But the horse is fine. If you don't like horses, though, skip it. Let's see. If you're squeamish about sexual words like "cum," probably skip this one.
I'm squeamish about you saying "come" that way.
That's the only way I know how. If you're squeamish about giant death marble walls that slowly chop off heads as they move towards you.
No, I don't know what to tell you.
Probably skip this one. Caligula. That's a movie. That's a man.
That's a movie, man.
That's a movie, man. Comma, man. We did not talk about whether we thought Caligula deserved the hatred that it's earned, the ire, the fear.
Yeah, it's a little hard for us to fear.
It's placed behind the beaded curtain. It earned that.
Oh, it certainly earned that. No, that without a doubt, it's earned that. Yeah, it's a little hard. It's a little hard given how we normally talk about that because it didn't win any stinkers and the Razzies didn't exist, so we can't really judge it by that criteria.
Think of it like this: when I heard about Caligula, I thought of two things: ew, and horny. Right?
Yeah, see, that was my initial impression based on what I had heard about the film was just super horny, right? That's just it's just like just nonstop wall to wall sex and like it is, but also gross.
So is it an awful film in your opinion? Awful, icky, porno, gross film.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll say yeah. Because here's the thing: it's not art. Like it's maybe art to Tinto Brass, even though he's disowned it. May it be art to somebody. What I think it's become now is a subversive curio, like I said in the last episode.
Yeah.
The 67% 5-star reviews on Amazon is kind of a testament to that. People who are so excited they got it on Blu-ray, and during the break of the last episode, while y'all were peeing, I was reading more of these, and I'm telling you, some of these reviews, like these people have, I'm not joking, like 8-paragraph dissertations of what makes this film so amazing, where they've broken down like almost every cum shot in their Amazon review.
There you go, Joe. That's what you're looking for.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's what you're looking for.
No, this guy's stroke speed's entirely wrong.
So, like I said, there is an audience now for subversive curios. That's why we're seeing a lot of these boutique labels releasing $50, $60 4K restorations of 60s, 70s, and 80s erotica, stuff that wasn't even available in like actual movie theaters unless you were in the San Fernando Valley. And now people are looking at it as unrepresented and misunderstood art. And I feel that's where this kind of falls.
That's fascinating. I had no idea there was that kind of market for that thing.
I think
100%.
Judging by the two cuts that I've watched, it's earned its icky bad film. Did I like it? Kinda. Am I fascinated by it? Yes. Yeah, I am fascinated by it.
It's definitely more, I didn't like it, but it is fascinating. I think that's a good word for it.
Yeah. Great. Welcome to DeRazzled, the podcast that takes award-winning worst films and fixes them. I'm host Jack Culbertson, and here to suffer alongside me as always is also host Joe Nealis.
Please sign my petition to get Caligula in the next Kingdom Hearts game.
I already signed it.
Hell yeah, thank you.
The fan art is already being sent in. Once again, we are...
You didn't know that goof did that.
Once again, we are greeted by Antonio of the Cultworthy podcast. Hello, Antonio.
Hello. Thanks for having me back to talk about Caligula even more.
Absolutely our pleasure.
This doesn't count as your hat trick, though. Another podcast has to come and ask you on to talk about this.
So I wanted to take a second to talk about how we first encountered Caligula, but you did that in the last episode, and it frankly can't be beat.
No, honestly, it's perfect.
Well, I'd love to ask you, this was your pick. You picked this.
Yes, you did,
Why?
Jack.
I have kind of gotten into finding movies that are hard to find. Not that this one's like super difficult to find, but either movies that are underwatched or hard to find, or you can only find like a super grainy pixelated version on the internet, or movies that like somebody talked to me at a party once in college and they were like, kind of wish I ever hear of Caligula. It's got boobies. And also I find Helen Mirren to be very attractive, except for in this movie. So that kind of backfired.
I wouldn't say she wasn't attractive in this movie.
I would say
that she looks so like just sick of where she is that I feel more for her pain of being there than I am like, hey, how you doing?
Right. Like she gives off a vibe like, please don't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I hear you.
I won't. I respect
fake pregnant belly, and you can just stand over there.
Oh God, I almost forgot about the whole birthing scene. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So yeah, I there's that, and also some of the weirder, harder movies to find. I wouldn't even want to talk about on the internet.
You fucking pervert.
And Joe won't let me talk about Plague Dogs anymore.
No, only because you were doing it on like a daily Robert Evans-esque level. Like,
it's a really interesting film.
Have you read the book? It's even more depressing.
No, I want to. Is it in the public domain? We could do an audiobook of it.
Oh my God.
Richard Adams, who wrote Watership Down too, which is the other most disturbing animated film. I did both Plague Dogs and Watership Down last April on my animated April series.
Yeah.
So
I remember that. Yeah.
Well, I guess since you already did it was fine.
Yeah. I licked it. It's mine. I'm just kidding. Obviously, that's not the rule in the world of Caligula.
No.
I licked it.
Well, I licked it. Have some.
Oof. So let's talk about who's responsible for this fucking disaster after Joe reminds us some things.
Oh, yeah, I should probably remind everybody to go and rate and review the show everywhere that I possibly can, like on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podchaser, Podcast Addict, or wherever you listen to podcasts to help other people find us.
We just want love.
We just want love.
Did you know there's a massive petition for a 4K release of this that I'm looking at right now?
A 4K release of it? Oh my God. Could you imagine this in 4 fucking K?
I would watch this on Blu-ray. I would not watch this in 4K.
I'm almost afraid to watch this on 4K. Now I'm getting why you said
I might
fear
get
earlier.
something in my eye if I watch it in 4K.
Just
to wear my cum
This
goggles.
movie
4K 4D.
God, can you imagine
I don't want to
cinema
get too obscene. I don't want to get too obscene on your guys' show, but I gotta admit, you can smell this movie and it is not pleasant.
You can.
We talked
you can
about
literally
that.
smell this movie.
We talked yesterday about how this had to be just the stankiest set in the history of film.
That first, like,
It
first
smells
of
like
all,
ASU in July. Like, it's so... It's not good, y'all.
All right, serious question. Worst set to be on, stank wise.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No,
you're going to do an either or.
Which specific set?
In the film.
Scene. Yeah. Yeah.
Whew.
I'm going to say the introduction to Peter O'Toole's character. His little haven of just weird boner stilt guys and people getting fingered.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if you
on multiple tiers.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you meant like the fuck mountain setup that he had going, or the grotto,
or the fuck pond.
The fuck pond.
No,
yeah.
The fuck pond is actually rather pleasant. Like, I would take a swim in the fuck pond in like a second.
Nope.
It looked nice. But I mean,
Just don't
Peter
get that water
O'Toole's
in your mouth.
his Castle Grayskull of boners and dildos and all that other shit. Like,
Yeah,
I would say that, especially with that hot lighting they got on there.
Yeah.
that, you know, that I think that sells it for me, is that fucking lighting, because my immediate knee-jerk reaction is the fuckboat brothel, but the lighting on that fucking multi-tiered set, that might be it.
Is that the same scene that I know? It's the scene where somebody's disemboweled.
It is the same scene where somebody. Yeah, well, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same scene as the wine jug.
What scene has the pee scene? Is it that one or is
late. That's later.
Okay,
That's later. That's close to the end.
because that probably didn't smell great.
No, just collecting.
Yeah, that's
pissing
after
on the floor.
That's after he kills the dude that he butt fisted, and then
That's right.
the girls come over and they pee on his dead body.
That poor actor. Oh my
Oh
god.
Just-
my god, man!
Just to put that little Salt Bay, little sprinkle on it. It's a finishing move.
Oh yes, thank you, Piss Bay.
Hashtag Piss Bay.
We've talked about how he showed up with his family, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
Yes,
all right.
we touched on that. Wait, did we touch on that?
No, I was waiting for this segment.
Great, here we are.
Okay, no, we talked so much about it throughout the day that I forgot we didn't actually say it on mic. Fuck.
So the actor who does get we didn't do disclaimer. Hey,
I'll copy and paste the disclaimer from the first
fantastic,
episode.
great. The actor who gets fisted by Malcolm McDowell was not quite aware that that's what was going to happen that day, and showed up with his family to watch him in this performance. He was very proud he had gotten into this big Hollywood movie, and
Thank you so much, Antonio, for sharing that Gilbert Gottfried episode with us, because
It's gold.
It's gold.
now what you don't, because Malcolm McDowell also told that story in the commentary, but what he did not repeat in the podcast is it's him talking to whomever it is, and he's like, there's this take where I take a flower out of my crown or whatever it is, and ploop it right in his butt. However, Malcolm McDowell thought that they'd cut that because the actor was so upset by that specifically. He's like, so we didn't do it. We didn't do it because like it would really upset the actor. And then the movie shows him doing exactly that, and he's like, oh well, I guess we did.
Yep.
Whoops.
Oh my god. I just love that, like, he found out, like he was so upset about the idea of like buggering, as he put it. Yeah, he didn't want to perform buggery on camera because he didn't feel that would he felt that would be a kind of a career ender for him.
It was 79. It wouldn't have been.
He didn't think people were ready for it.
They probably weren't.
They probably weren't. So he's like arguing with Gore Vidal, who's then calling him a prude for not wanting to do this. It's like
to Gore Vidal, probably. Yeah.
Fair. But then he finds out from somebody else, from what I think it was from a producer who like would gone to a sex party in New York, or went to a gay club in New York, and goes, yeah, they fuck each other with their fists on stage in front of everybody. And he goes, fist, you say?
Fist, you say?
I could do that.
I'll fist this guy.
That won't end my career. And it didn't.
No.
Remember him on Alex Mack? He fisted a guy.
Hell, I used to play Wing Commander in the 90s on PC, and he was like in 3 of those. He doesn't fist anybody in those, but
not on screen.
Not on screen.
Let's talk about the people responsible for this film. We'll start with Gore Vidal, partially because he's the one. I'm a bad theater student, and I know probably the least about him.
Okay.
I know he was an author, playwright, politician, novelist, bit of an asshole, super witty, leaned liberal. Is known for writing this novel called Maya Breckenridge, which was also turned into a movie, but he disowned it. It contains one of the first instances of a main character having a sex change operation.
Oh.
He himself was gay, maybe.
I mean,
he said he was not gay, but
Hoink. Yeah. I mean, the only reason I know anything about that is because they reference him having sex with Colonel Gentleman in the Venture Brothers.
Right.
But
which
Gentleman gets around. What can we
right?
say?
You know, I can do. Very prominent in like the sexual liberation aspect. He did some script doctoring on Ben-Hur. He acted in Gattaca.
Okay.
And a bit of a contrarian vibe I get from this dude. Had a lot of public tiffs.
He was just a shit talker, man. Like,
yeah.
He was a liberal shit talker, and he was good at it. And I think one of the most interesting things about him is that he loved to debate with real, just like Bible Belt conservative assholes on TV, and just really put him in his place. I mean, if they would have had some of his debates on TikTok now, everyone would know who he was. Like, it really is like what people are doing right now on TikTok and Instagram, just getting online and debating Bible Belt conservatives. Like, this guy was doing that in like the 50s and the 60s.
Yeah.
So I think he laid the groundwork for that.
Can we repurpose our TikTok to just rebroadcasting this Gore Vidal footage?
Absolutely. God, I wish I'd looked up what plays he had written, but I have no idea. Anyway, an important political figure and a social personality.
An interesting cultural force.
Yes. Let's talk about Tinto Brass, which we did a little bit in the previous episode.
A little bit, yeah. Which I also feel compelled to just point out, what a fucking name.
Yeah, it's a great name.
It's so many people in these stories that we've been covering as of late. They're just buck wild names.
Tinto Brass, the Gooch.
The Gooch.
So he started out in avant-garde cinema. When he got to the 70s, specifically Salon Kitty in 76, he started to lean more towards the erotic cinema. Caligula only pushed him further in that direction. I don't know what I read that made me write this note down, but could have used a sex coordinator or an intimacy coordinator. I imagine his sets were not super fun to be on if you were, a woman.
I would agree with that.
You're probably onto something there.
But it was Bob Guccione and I think Gore Vidal seeing Salon Kitty that led to him being chosen to direct Caligula.
Did you know that he was also in the early runnings to direct Clockwork Orange before Kubrick took it?
I do, yeah.
I did not know that.
Which, like...
Very different movie.
I guess makes sense, but also it's kind of gross. But I guess Clockwork Orange is also kind of gross.
I mean, yeah. It's kind of
it was even perfect.
Kind of part of the whole deal.
He has a style.
And I think he is the reason that we ended up with Teresa What's-Her-Futs for Drusilla, because he'd worked with her before.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Hey, Bob Guccione, the Gooch. He started Penthouse, right? Like he's the reason it exists entirely. He's a bit of a failed painter. And he was like, I can't paint, let's do porn.
I mean, at least he didn't go the Hitler route, I guess, but...
Right. There's actually kind of a bit of a theme to this episode where the person's a failed artist, so they turn into a monster instead.
God.
So yeah, he was a failed painter, wasn't able to make any money. So he created Penthouse magazine, which was basically Playboy, but with Bush.
Yeah.
It was one of the first, if not the first, magazine to have pubic hair, full frontal. He expanded his business into everything a boob could be in, including comic books, which will be something I will try to find on my own time.
So incoming Grant Morrison reference in 3, 2, 1.
No, not yet. No. Well, actually, I was thinking about Grant Morrison while I was working on this episode, because
Of course you were.
You did this to me. I was going to save it for myself. So Grant Morrison was working on this comic book called The Filth.
You mentioned
Yeah.
You mentioned this to me the other day.
And in order for him to write it, it's called The Filth, and he watched every vile, disgusting human act, mostly porn, in order to saturate his brain and write this, and it really ruined them. And that's kind of what I feel like a little bit with Caligula. Like I really can't wait to be done with this episode so I can stop thinking about dicks and comes and bulls on people's faces. Although I don't ever want to forget the image of the dickmonger that you see when Malcolm McDowell's kind of wandering through the village. He's sad. And there's somebody behind him, just like an extra behind him with like
wearing the big dick hat.
He's wearing like a big dick hat, and he has like extra dicks he's trying to like sell.
Yep.
He's like, dicks for sale. Dicks. Anyone want a dick? That is a job I would not mind having if it paid rent.
There were two people who like that stood out to me. One was him, and the other was in the giant multi-tiered Peter O'Toole fuck mountain.
Right. Fuck mountain.
Was the guy juggling the big golden dicks?
There he was.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yes.
Not as impressive as the guy in like the kind of like middle stage area of fuck mountain.
Yes.
Who jumped and clapped the entire time into the next day when everybody else was passed out. And
he did have some unbelievable stamina. I forgot about that guy.
I like Boner Stiltman, guys.
Boner
Stiltman's pretty good. Yeah.
Boner Stiltman.
Did
attorney at law.
Well, we found the episode title. All right.
Oh shit.
Not enough screen time, in my opinion. But.
Agreed.
The like Carney's Dick Carney's in that scene. That is the movie that I would make. I would kind of like let them film what they're doing with the dicks, and then we're like, all right, now we're going to talk about like your personal stories as Dick Carney's.
What happens when the Dick Carney goes home to his family?
Right. Yeah.
So Jack wants to make Santa Sangre, but with the Dick Carneys from Caligula.
That is what it is, isn't it? God damn it. Well, it's already been done. Fuck.
You're right. Who says that art is dead? Oh my god.
I'm gonna have some real weird dreams tonight.
Thank you for that.
So the Gooch.
Continue.
Bob Guccione.
Two real quick notes for the Gooch. He wanted to follow up this movie, assuming it had been successful, with can you guess what historical figure?
Why is Catherine the Great?
It's Catherine the Great.
God, no! Damn it!
It's obviously Catherine the Great.
I'm so mad.
Yeah, me too.
God. No, the horse was not going to have a good time in that one.
Mercifully, this movie bombed.
Thank fuck.
He did, however, and I can't even fault him for this. He did reutilize the sets and the costumes to make an actual Roman porno.
All right.
Which I'm like,
fine.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
You know what? Good. I'm glad. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Thank you.
Right.
I better see that dickmonger in there.
You got to keep that man employed.
And then the biggest reason we have this movie is Caligula, the man himself.
Yeah. Little boots.
Little Boots. Really quick history on him. You could do like an 8-part series on Caligula. So the reason he's called Little Boots is he used to go with his father, who was a general, basically as the mascot. He was like the little like soldier mascot, and they would dress him up.
They did refer to him as his dad's mascot at some point. I was like, what the fuck's that about? That's weird.
And he would put on a soldier's uniform, but it's small and it's cute. And he would wear like little boots.
Yeah, just little boots.
And he hated that name.
Sure.
Which makes sense. So we mentioned a little bit in the first episode that it's difficult to know what is true, what is not true, mostly because the people who wrote the history on Caligula did it like 100 years after he had already died and hated him. So
somewhat biased.
Right.
Not the most objective historical view on a person.
So the movie actually doesn't do a whole lot of the more obviously fake bullshit, excluding him sleeping with his sister. That's kind of the most prominent myth about him.
So we don't know if that's actually true.
I think there's 4 people who wrote about Caligula, 3 or 4 people who wrote about him, and only one of them mentions that specifically his grandmother caught him in bed with his sister. And it was when they were children. I'm kind of leaning towards it not being the case, but also I don't care. Because it was the year of our Lord 19. Other things that are kind of probably not true. Unfortunately, he probably did not make his horse a senator.
I'm offended by this.
I'm a little bummed.
I reject this reality and substitute my own. That horse ran for office and held that office for like 20 years.
There is. He worked on infrastructure. He lowered taxes. It was
great for the average Roman.
How do you say the horse's name?
Incitatus. I'm pretty
Incitatus.
sure.
There is a slightly higher chance that he was made a priest.
Sure.
Because it was probably a little easier to be like, my horse is now a priest. He did give the horse slaves.
What?
They mentioned this in the movie, kind of, sort of. So he considered himself to be a god.
It's problematic ass horse got slaves. This is fucked up.
It's a little, yeah. He also made everyone worship his sister as though she were also a god. And his horse was like somewhat less than a god.
I mean, I guess it'd be kind of weird if you're a god and the people you are a blood relative of aren't gods. That'd be a little strange, right?
I mean, it makes sense, but it also made everybody pretty angry.
I mean, they're already polytheistic,
right? And he worshipped Isis, which was already weird.
Yeah, he's already worshiping like a completely different pantheon's gods.
So, like, some stuff that I would have liked to have seen in the movie. So people hated Emperor Tiberius. He was a horrible tyrant, molested children, then threw them off a cliff. It became a thing. It was a bit of a thing. They named the cliff after him.
That doesn't need to be a thing.
Either part, really.
No, none of that needed to be a thing.
He was really worried that Caligula's family would assassinate him, so he was like, well, I'm gonna assassinate you. Specifically, Caligula's father, who was very popular. It's highly likely that he was poisoned by Tiberius. He, in finger quotes, invited Caligula to stay with him on Capri. Good chance that he was also assaulted. Almost certainly was made to watch the things that Tiberius did.
Yeah.
And as Tiberius kind of slowly worked his way through Caligula's family as far as killing them, he would look to see if Caligula would react.
That's fucked up.
It's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
And Caligula had to not, because if he did, then he would be questioning the authority of the emperor and then be put to death.
Not ideal.
You know, it's almost like, it's in the movie too. There's a quote from Tiberius that's like, I'm creating a viper in Rome's butt.
Yeah, that was the famous butt viper line. Yeah.
Right, you know, that one. It basically is like, I know what I'm doing. I'm creating a monster for Rome.
Yeah, I do remember something. I forget the exact line, but yeah, it was something along that sentiment.
So he was Tiberius was eventually assassinated. There's this. So you remember Jamillus?
Like his brother or
the little step brother, yeah.
Right? Yeah,
the one who was very afraid most of the time,
right? As he should have been.
Yeah.
So he was actually like should have been the Caesar, but he was too young.
Mm-hmm.
And Tiberius didn't actually like making decisions because he kind of wanted to just go fuck.
He had a lot of fucking and killing to do, you see.
Right. So when he had to decide who's going to be the Caesar, he just called up the two boys, and whoever arrived first
made the decision.
Was the Caesar.
Oh, so he just won a race, basically.
Yeah, but they didn't know. It was an unknown race because they didn't know.
That's not fair.
Specifically because Germillus was hungry, so he stopped and ate breakfast first.
See?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
I would have done the same thing, though.
Yeah, me too.
You gotta have a breakfast. I can't function well without a breakfast.
I don't want to go see pervert Tiberius without something in my tummy.
I can't do this again on an empty stomach, guys.
And that's why you lose, Germillus.
Jesus Christ.
So Caligula became the emperor, the Caesar, and he was really popular with people for the first couple months to a year. He gave bonuses to his soldiers. He freed the enslaved, which is a good place to start.
We kind of see some of that in the film.
Yeah, we do.
There's a lot of like, you get this, you get extra money right now.
Yeah. So like Tiberius was really stingy, did not spend any money. So when Caligula showed up, he's like, "Oh, I got all this money I got to spend." Gave it to his soldiers, spent it on infrastructure, building shit. Threw some great parties.
Yeah.
Which we definitely see in the movie. This is one that I was kind of surprised by and really liked. He made all government documents available to the common man.
Really?
Yeah.
What were the literacy rates?
Oh, that's a good point. You can all read this if you could read.
You may all take a look at this.
Yeah. Yeah. Did redaction exist back then?
That's true. It's like if you stop right here, he was great. It was pretty good. Then he became ill.
Right.
It's people can't decide whether he became ill because of an illness or if he was poisoned.
Did he magically get better as quickly as he did in the film?
Unknown by me, maybe. I don't know. I see in the film. I got the vibe that it was an infection because then Drusilla becomes ill.
She got it from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he just kind of like magically pops back up like, "Ooh, yeah. I'm fine." Like
he's got that spunky Caligula godness to him. I don't know. And either way, after that, he became a dick.
Yep.
And then 4 years later, after 4 years of reigning, he was assassinated. So, didn't go well for him. But, not bad for rolling for 4 years, and, we're still talking about him today. Even if it's because he's a pervert dick.
Well, it also makes me wonder, like, how much of the stories are apocryphal, like, we associate Caligula with debauchery. It's the most extreme form, but is that because of the movie and how it was told and what it displayed, or from actual like people digging into historical documents and the historical references? Because for me, whenever I hear Caligula reference, it's about debauchery, and it mostly has to do with the film and how the film portrays him. So
yeah, so my research on him went beyond the film, but even when I was researching him in other areas, they also brought up the film. But he did have several historians who wrote about him. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's the parts that I pointed out that are probably not true, like him sleeping with his sister or making his horse a senator, probably not true. But he, given the culture of the time, and that historians probably think that he probably had a personality disorder.
That's probably a safe bet, right? Like, I don't want to apologize, but like, given all the shit that went down, like there's something's not right there.
I mean, yeah, but if you want to be Team Caligula, you do you.
Well, I mean, it didn't really end well for Caesars in general.
True.
You know, if this guy got just a little bit more randy with things and still went out the way other Caesars do, hey, at least he had a good time doing it. You know, I don't think all the other Caesars had a fuck boat, so winning.
True. I'm pretty sure he is the only one that had a fuck boat.
Yeah. I'm trying to think because I researched Tiberius, Caligula, Claudius, and then Nero.
No, Claudio's the front man of Coheed and Cambria. No, it's Claudius.
Little different. And I think Caligula was the only one with the fuck boat. Nero got up to some weird shit too, but not quite as perverse.
Well,
as,
I mean, rock stars do what they do on tour. It's
right.
Just...
Right. We did talk about that. What I was mentioning earlier about how they wanted to be an artist and then things went poorly when they weren't allowed to be. Caligula was originally just wanted to be a poet. And I think a dancer.
No, he's got those sick moves.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen the film. And then he became.
Yeah, but it's like
Caesar.
just one routine that's like choreographed, dude.
That's
Like, I want to see his
true.
freestyle before I make any judgment
I
calls.
would like to see him pop and lock it a little bit. Maybe see if he throw down some cardboard, see if he could break dance. Just get silly with it.
He wasn't quite as bad as Nero, who every time he was left to his own devices was like, I'm going on tour with my poetry.
I must perform for
Right.
Genoa.
Right. Oh yeah, they both pissed off. They started to put statues of themselves in like I think it was Jewish temples.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's shitty.
Yeah. There's like yeah, my sister should be in your temple. She's a goddess now. She goes there. And Nero, after his people got mad at him, he's like, it was the Christians. So, you know, that's doesn't go well. Hey, let's take a break.
All right.
So, welcome back. We're going to fix Caligula.
Please, for the love of God.
And how?
I'm gonna call it Caligula.
Brilliant.
I thought it was really good. They started well. Title Caligula. I knew what it was about. I even
Succinct, to the point.
the poster's pretty cool. I actually like the first 2 minutes. Really
I do
good.
like the poster. Yeah.
And the score, keeping the score. I want to, maybe lean a little bit more into the historical drama aspect. Still keep it erotic. Still going to be we're going to make it hot.
I say, please make it hot at least. Like,
Right.
if we're going to do this, just...
Kind of what you were saying in the last episode, Antonio, where the sex is more motivated, story wise, instead of just cut to fellatio.
Now, I have to commend the sexual performers in this movie because anyone that's worked a set, this is beyond a typical porno set for sure. Like, there are costumes and lighting and props and so many camera setups. Those boys got to be at the ready, and I don't think they get enough credit. I feel that the filmmakers kind of did them dirty. They didn't really focus on the prowess of these specimens.
They did. There's some talk about the woman who volunteered to pee on a guy. They basically gave her a gallon of water, had her drink it, and then stand by. Like, stand by. We're gonna finish. Just one more take. Don't pee yet. Just one more take.
wait for golden hour.
Right. Fuck. I liked it. So I want to start with Caligula when he first is arriving on Capri, when he's first being tormented by his adopted uncle. I want to build some sympathy for this kid. Hearing about his brothers being killed, his father being killed. I think his mother committed suicide, if I recall.
Yeesh.
So that this isn't quite true, but the only family he has left is Drusilla. So they're like trauma bonded. He actually had some other sisters alive, but it doesn't matter.
We don't see them in the film either,
no.
so it's fine.
This is the only person he feels safe with this is the only person he feels like he can relate to, who's also obviously lost all of her family. But living with Tiberius fucked up his idea of a healthy sex life, also made him fascinated with death, to the point where all he really wants is to spend time with his sister and hopefully see Isis in the afterlife. Like I thought there was a number of cool scenes in the movie where he's talking in the ear of, I think it's Nerva, and then in a much more perverse way, the soldier that he's tormenting, kind of like talking in their ear, like, tell me what you see.
Yeah, that I found fascinating.
Yeah.
Like his insistence on asking, like, do you see Isis, and wanting to know like what she looks like and what she's saying and so on and so forth. Like just that little hint into his sort of his like particular brand of psychosis and obsession. It is, but it's not grounded to anything else. It's just kind of thrown, it's kind of peppered in there at a couple of different points.
Well, it's also like his connection to boyhood innocence, because he's acting like someone who's seen Santa Claus. He's so fascinated by the idea of it. So it does bring, like I said, there are moments in this film that bring like some humanity to him, but the film doesn't allow that to play out.
Yeah,
because there's boners in between.
The boners are very distracting.
They are, man.
They are.
Boners have a place, a time and a place. It's buggery. McDowell talks about in the commentary how an early iteration of the script basically has him start to end crazy. And he's like, that's not fun to play. It's not fun to watch. And we do see him ramp up, but I still think he hits that quote unquote crazy way too early.
I'd agree with that.
I think you can even push that further away. So you start with him as a kid, young adult, whatever. Probably young adult would be a little bit more comfortable given what's going on around him.
You can fudge the age a little bit, just make him a little older for it and not just completely turn people off from it.
Something that I noticed while watching or learning about these different Caesars is their lives are all super cyclical. Where they start out, they don't want to be Caesar. They want to do something else. They end up as Caesar. They become monsters. That happens with Tiberius. That happens with Caligula. Claudius was just too happy and drunk to give a shit. And
that
then
tracks.
Nero. All three of them, that happens. And that's what I want to see here. Is like we see Tiberius. We see him afraid of Tiberius. He becomes Tiberius.
Kind of really exemplify that cycle more thoroughly.
Yeah. Like, focus on that, not the boners. I also want to...
I
mean, we don't want to completely abandon the boners, just so we don't want them to be quite as distracting.
Listen.
Yeah.
We shot the scene with the guys, the spies, sucking each other off. We're using the scene...
This is completely unacceptably unprofessional. Like, you're on a job site. Come on.
I don't know what they were trying to tell me with that scene.
It's kind of bewildering.
They have, like, Drusilla and Caligula are talking in bed. I think they're, like, plotting or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's this, like, frowning face on the wall that whoever the architect was like, oh, this would be great for spies to look through. We'll make the mouth clear. And Caligula, I don't know if he heard the suckling or what, but he like runs over and he's like, "Hey, you perverts, get the fuck out of there!"
A dick has touched lips. I
Right.
must see.
It's like the modern day equivalent of a guy getting like caught jerking off in a Zoom meeting. You know, It's like,
it's ancient
like,
Jeffrey Toobin.
Damn it, man!
He's not even mad that they're spies. He's just like, you perverts.
And he doesn't even like do anything to me. He's just like, get out of here, you scamps.
Yeah. People have tried to kill him before. This is not even that bad.
These two can't even overcome their horniness.
What if they weren't even spies? Like, what if they were hitmen and they got distracted before the job? Like, what if Pulp Fiction started that way? What if...
Wow.
I digress. Continue.
So in my version of Santa Sangria with the Dick Carneys, we're definitely having a little like B plot with the two hitmen that are too busy sucking each other off to actually get the job done.
We missed it again. Oh,
dang it. Go away again.
Why are you so gorgeous?
Pull your pants up. We got to go.
Boss, why do you keep pairing me with Billy? Man, I can't get anything done. Oh, my God.
Have you seen this man's cock? It's gorgeous. So, I want to focus on early on how Caligula can't bring himself to kill a person.
Okay.
Because he can't. He can't bring himself to kill Tiberius. Macro has to do it. But I also want to show how he has a really hard time making decisions. It's Drusilla who's helping him make the decisions. That's stealing a little bit from Nero. Nero really couldn't make any decisions without his mom.
Nero was a mama's boy?
Very much a mama's boy.
Oh my God.
He did eventually try to kill her, but like... It's
you're kind of overcorrecting the situation there, bud.
Yeah. I mean, his mom took it like real hard too, because when the hitman came to kill her, she had him stab her in the womb.
Oh God,
symbolic. Anyway, that's later on. We're still stuck on Caligula.
That guy didn't even get distracted by a dick anywhere along the way.
That's why you can't have two hitmen. You have one hitman.
They learned the lesson after that.
Caligula, they're like
that was like the Leon, the professional of the hitman back then.
You can't have two Leons.
They'll start sucking
each other off. Okay. Oof, we're getting a little loopy here, huh?
Getting?
You picked the film, asshole.
I did. I didn't know there's going to be so much suckling.
Anyway.
So, I also want to focus on we seeing his need for approval. Again, something I'm kind of taking from Nero, but whatever. He was an artist.
Are you sure you don't want to make a Nero movie?
I might want to make a Nero movie.
Yeah, like
I want to make a Nero movie, but with more dicks.
Caligula's got all the dicks.
Caligula's got all the dicks. Nero's got the pained artist thing. I just want the two.
And I mean, they kind of have they've got some stuff in common.
They have some stuff in common.
Yeah, I can see what. And again, you're playing with the cycle of things. So.
Right. Anyway.
Directed by Paul Verhoeven.
Yes. Sold.
There's gonna be some really weird cloacas in there.
Opening final draft now.
No.
Fade in. Keep going.
What does Phil Tippett do?
Mad gods.
Some go
indeed.
motion dicks. I don't want this CGI. We're doing practical like we did in the 80s. So
the turn comes when Drusilla dies, as it does in this film.
Sure.
His cruelty is directed at the doctors who couldn't save her, the senators that set him up to fail, and I want to see him be angry. We have this moment in the movie where he's angry at, is it Isis or is it Venus? He takes a statue and he like busts it.
I imagine it's probably Venus, because he would have to be in Egypt to find a statue of Isis unless he purposefully had one built in Rome.
Well, there was the temple of priestesses who worshipped Isis, but you're
right. No, never mind. So it could have been.
Pay attention.
Yeah, Joe. Fucking Joe.
Okay, look, we talked about this beforehand.
There weren't even any dicks in that scene.
There weren't any dicks in that scene. No, we were concerned.
Just a bunch of lesbians.
But we were concerned that this movie was going to turn me straight in a way that akin to making a kid who smoked a cigarette smoke an entire carton all
it's
in
like,
one sitting.
Oh, you like dicks? Here's all the dicks. Here's all the dicks.
It
was like Showgirls for me. I'm like, I don't even like tits anymore.
Oh,
wow.
Good Lord.
This is somehow both our most hetero and gayest episode we've done.
Yeah.
I'm just glad to be here.
Oh, shit. So there's a moment he breaks the statue of Venus.
Yes.
I want him to be the third act to be his like revenge on everyone, doctors, senators, and the gods.
Yes.
For not saving Drusilla. And then I want him, when he goes to the street and he sees the people making fun of him, fuck them too.
I mean,
So you want to give it the Godfather ending. You're going to have him take care of all
Basically.
family business. I like it. I like it.
Scorched earth.
I like it.
I'm not sure where to fit the orgy scene in. I mean, I think he's still going to make the senators' wives and the sex workers, but
But I think since you're
what?
playing up the revenge angle of this and like him inflicting this upon them, like it's an opportunity to show like, no, this is actually like a monstrous thing he's doing to these wives.
And McDowell kind of already takes that scene into not a ringleader, that's not the word, like a good carnival barker.
He really does.
Yeah.
He does a lot of barking in this movie.
If I had to hear him shout only 5 gold pieces one more fucking time.
I'm just going to push that even further. So we eventually get to the ending, and I kind of already said it in the first part because history did a better ending anyway.
Yeah, no. So you get him down into that secret corridor.
Yeah.
You get that angelic chorus of boys.
So in this, I changed it a little. It's a little different. So like the Senate has had their fill of him. There's like, fuck this guy. The people hate him. And even after these endless games, they're like, we're going to assassinate this guy. I want him to specifically put on, again, I'm stealing from Nero. I'm sorry, Nero. I want him to put on the play that they were rehearsing.
Yeah.
At the end. And it's the play bombs.
Oh, so then they're getting like tomatoes and shit thrown at them,
Yeah.
and then they're getting like chased for how shitty it was, and they end up in that corridor.
Yeah, it's like he's had his revenge, and he still feels like shit.
Yeah.
So he's being led through this corridor back to the palace, and we're intercutting this with scenes of Helen Mirren getting stabbed and his daughter's head getting crushed in, not by a Cabbage Patch doll, because that looked shitty. And we hear the beautiful like choir music, the angelic choir, and it kind of brings him back to him being a child and the beauty he was never allowed to experience as a child because he was trapped with a pervert.
Yeah.
And then when he is being assassinated, you can almost see on his face him looking towards death to try to see, like, well, what is it that I am going to see? Am I going to see ISIS?
So then you're going to get that last crazed look in his eyes.
And even if it were me directing it, it would be that moment of recognition where he's like, there is nothing.
Yeah.
So it's just terror. The end.
I fucking love that, actually. Yeah.
It's deep. I like it.
But with dicks. With like a lot of dicks. There's like a lot of dicks and maybe some boobies.
You ruined it.
Maybe some boobs, she said.
Maybe.
Does your version still have the wall of
Oh my god,
head
yeah, absolutely.
trimming? Okay, all right, cool.
You gotta keep that. That thing was
that
thing was far too ridiculous to ever remove.
There were
Yeah, it's amazing.
It was a solid wall of red marble.
Yeah. Just with a bunch of
carved
dudes
with
standing
like faces,
all over it.
slaves
and they were
standing
like
on it.
they were fanning it. They were keeping the operators
Yeah.
cool.
Yep.
I mean,
And you just have like mower blades at the bottom, just chopping people's heads off, but also efficiently removing it from the field.
In most cases, there was one that kind of got like bumbled off into the middle.
It
and
got
like,
sliced too good.
Yeah, get this back over into the catcher. Come on.
I dare say in my version there would be twice as many murder walls.
Twice as many.
Yeah,
It'd
at
be
least twice as many scenes with a murder wall.
Ah, okay. Get to get a feel for it.
Right. They
in
said
action.
it was gilding the lily, and I said more murder walls.
Jack takes his lilies and dumps them into molten gold.
Right. Yeah. If you drink it, you poop gold. So, fellas,
Don't do that.
Goldschlager for my butt. Do you feel as though I've fixed Caligula?
I think you did an admirable job here. Yeah.
Great. Where are we rating this on Rotten Tomatoes?
Antonio, what do you think?
Jack's version,
Yeah.
I'd say it's a solid 7 if you get the casting right.
7 out of 100?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I always confuse. I don't never look at Rotten Tomatoes.
All right.
70. Let's give
There
it
we go.
a
Okay.
70. Yeah.
I'd go no lower than a 69.
I would be mad if you did.
Yes.
Great. I can sleep easy tonight with my visions of dickmongers and golden shits.
Beautiful.
Antonio, thank you for you idiot. Why'd you do this to yourself?
Why you did this?
Oh, I know why I did it myself.
Oh.
I don't know why you agreed to it, Antonio.
Well, I've been waiting a year for the next invitation, and you said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna hook up soon," and this is what it was. And I'm not one to turn down an invitation when my friends ask me out.
Hey, on the bright side, the next time it won't be this.
Yep. But what if it was?
Well, what if it was?
I'd be upset.
I mean, did you guys know that there are 2 unofficial sequels to this film?
Why did you tell him that?
Shit, there really?
Why did you tell him that?
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
Both directed by Joe D'Amato, who did the Erotic Night of the Living Dead.
I gotta go. Wait, there's an Erotic Night of the Living Dead? Guys, I'm gonna be busy tomorrow. I'm so excited.
And although I haven't seen them, I did read some of the synopsis, and you would be pleased to know that in that version, is called Caligula, the Untold Story, there is a horse who is masturbated to completion. So
I might need... What was that company you were telling us about that trims out the porno bits? Clean Cuts?
Clean Flicks?
No, I like mine better. Clean Cuts. Like a haircut place that also edits film. I might need...
In this economy, you have to diversify.
Right, yeah. I might need clean Flicks to trim that bit out. But other than that, I am in. I'm in
So
multiple
mad.
sequels plus of zombie porno. Hell yeah.
Oh, man.
What was that called? Dicks of the Dead? Dawn of the Dicks?
Erotic Night of the Living Dead?
Oh, yeah, I guess that's pretty
Is that
straightforward.
actually, is that the name? Erotic Night of the
That's
Living
the
Dead?
name. That's the name, yeah.
Yeah.
Look up Joe D'Amato. He's got all these like erotic versions of these films.
We're definitely doing a second unit on Joe
Yeah,
D'Amato.
I know. We
Fuck.
probably definitely are. God damn it.
Antonio, thank you for joining us. Where can the people find you?
Oh, they can find me everywhere you find podcasts, the Cult-Worthy Cinema Podcast, the Cult-Worthy Classic, and the MILF and Me Podcast. Just go to thecultworthy.com. It takes you wherever you want to go, including
Absolutely.
links to your guys' show.
And to everyone else who has been a partner with the Cult-Worthy Podcast.
This is true.
Joe, where can they find us?
Wherever you listen to podcasts, as we've mentioned, please rate and review if you enjoyed this absolute insanity we've just engaged in. We really appreciate this. If you want to follow us on social media, you can find us on Twitter at DeRazzledPod, on Facebook at DeRazzled Podcast, on Instagram and TikTok at DeRazzled_podcast. If there's a film you'd like to see us cover in season 3, please email us with your recommendation at DeRazzledPodcast@gmail.com. You can also feel free to suggest anything you'd like to see pop up in our Redbubble merch store. And we hope that you join us next time here.
Yep.
Yup.
Be sure to check us out next time. As we will, as always, we will be sure to
Horse cum.
razzle
Razzle
dazzle
dazzle
you. Good night.